Several big takeaways. This report looks at some of the leading markets in the western U.S. and it also includes some of the major Canadian markets. Quincy, Washington is the lowest cost market in the study. Uh, in central Washington state. The highest cost market is North Bay, California, which is suburban San Francisco. Some significant cost savings amongst various markets, particularly with labor costs, property tax costs, and utility costs, and utilities are emerging as a major site selection variable with our distribution projects today. BMW has a major facility in Quincy, Washington, or in central Washington state. They're going to pay about 2 cents an industrial kilowatt, compared with maybe 15 cents in a place like Chicago or Northern California. So there's tremendous savings to be had with hydroelectric power. Also, branding value. Companies want to brand themselves as being green friendly. So the other big takeaway is the importance of intermodal rail. Our distribution projects today, we're not even considering markets that don't have intermodal rail facilities. So that's another major site selection criteria.
How have those factors changed in recent years? They become more important?
Right. As diesel's gotten more expensive, we're projecting $7 a gallon diesel prices in California over the next 5 years. That's a game changer. That's going to shift the use of rail. And rail's been up this year alone 10 consecutive weeks of increased container traffic with rail. That's despite things like the drought, which has affected our nation's corn crop, and the decline in use of traditional coal and all of that. Despite all that, companies are favoring intermodal rail because it's less costly and it reduces carbon emissions.
Well, the findings of this report don't make a big case for California as being a desirable place for these DCs.
No, we're projecting a second wave of exodus of distribution companies leaving California. In addition to the high operating costs in California, we're also seeing over-regulation, over-unionization at the ports of LA and Long Beach. And the other big game changer is AB 32, which is the new carbon emissions tax in California. It went into effect January 1st, 2013. And that's another game changer. And it's making markets in the Pacific Northwest, like Quincy, or Tucson, or Phoenix, more coveted today.
What about Canadian companies? Are you seeing any change in their distribution patterns?
Sure.
For warehouses?
For the first time in many years, we're seeing our Canadian clients start to invest in brick-and-mortar warehouses in the U.S. And that's because the U.S. is suddenly cost competitive with respect to Canada because of the softened U.S. dollar. We have parity now with the Canadian dollar for the first time in 30 years. So it's now cost effective for Canadian companies to build warehouses in the U.S. And that's good news for a lot of the Pacific Northwest markets that we're seeing. Companies in Vancouver or Calgary or Edmonton can now put a warehouse there and serve the rich California marketplace via intermodal rail.
How important are property taxes?
Property taxes are an enormous cost variable with warehouses. These warehouses pay an enormous amount of money in property taxes. It's one of the reasons why that we're saying that there's been a sea change in the public's perception of warehouses. It used to be kind of a not in my backyard approach because they're low-paying jobs and the pollution, all of these things. But the reality is these warehouses, if a company like Amazon or Walmart builds a 2 million square foot warehouse in your town, that translates into tens of millions of dollars of property taxes that goes right into your local school budget. So politicians and taxpayers now are embracing these warehouse projects.
What was the basis for comparison of the warehouses that were used in this study?
Sure. This is a warehouse employing 175 workers and occupying 500,000 square feet.
And distributing to the Western regional market.
Primarily a Western market, the Bay Area, San Francisco, as well as the Southern California market and some of the growth markets in Southern Nevada, Phoenix, Tucson. Yes, we look at a lot of the usual suspects, the big players in distribution in the Western states, as well as some of these new markets that are emerging. because of some of these new factors like intermodal rail and access to low-cost, reliable, green-friendly hydroelectric power.
Thank you.
Thank you.